Welcome to Business Coaching Secrets with Karl Bryan. If you want to attract new high-end coaching clients, fill live events, and build a wildly profitable coaching practice where business owners pay, stay, and refer, you've come to the right place. In this podcast, Karl provides his keys to the kingdom for finding and signing high-paying clients and building the coaching business of your dreams. Here we go.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Business Coaching Secrets. Your boy Road Dogg here with the main man, the man of the hour. Well, probably more like 45 minutes, but whatever. Karl Bryan. Big shoots, big man, big hill. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Road Dogg. What's happening, my brother?
I am living my best life, as my wife continues to tell me. That's a pretty accurate description. Yeah.
Yeah. For everybody listening, what is Road Dogg's? I want to know. What's Road Dogg's best life look like? Give us a 101.
Really, you're calling me out just like that, hey? A little bit of solo time, a little bit of time with the wife, a little bit of family time, and a whole lot of work time. So I would say that's probably living my best life is a little bit of a combination of everything. How's that for a good PC answer?
You got to tell us, you got a new office. Tell me, what's for everybody listening, if they're contemplating taking up an office, has it been how good, bad, the middle? What has it been?
You know what I don't have? I don't have a cat walking on my keyboard like you. That's fact number one. That's the truth. So it's nice to have the zone where you can just go and not be distracted. And for myself, I know it's probably weird, but I do talk to myself. I am a Gemini, so I am my own best friend. So as I'm, writing things out on my whiteboards, like I've got like 8 whiteboards on the wall here. It's just, it allows me to get totally focused. It's well worth the money, dude. Like that's just my take. I know that some people can't be, doing that stuff, but man, the amount of, again, distractions, there would be a good question for you. What do they say for you to get back on track after a distraction takes 8 minutes? Is that, I've heard that somewhere. Is that about right?
Oh, I would dare say, I'm sure it's out there somewhere. I would challenge that and say it's longer, but staying focused, buddy. It's the magic, dude. It's the magic.
So with that in mind, let's stay focused there, big fella. And the first question that we have coming in is, can you give me an example of how to use social proof effectively? Fantastic.
Social proof. Yeah, I like that. Actually, if you follow, if you go by what Perry Marshall, who's like legend in my opinion. So he wrote a book on Google AdWords. He has real interesting kind of concepts. He's an engineer, and he brings like a real engineering kind of scientific approach to it, which again I don't do naturally, but I absolutely try my best to do. So what he says, bringing up Perry Marshall, is that his entire business is designed around collecting testimonials. He might word it a little bit differently, but just think about that as a mindset. Think about that as a strategic game plan for your business. Really what you're in the business of doing is not collecting money, not charging huge fees. It's basically collecting success stories and client testimonials. Pretty cool. So if we go by what he says, it's an important question, I guess. I wrote an email a while ago. That's probably my favorite email of all time. I freaking love it. But anyway, so I'm just, I kind of did a funny thing on Dan Kennedy, and I made out if we asked Dan Kennedy to tell a funny story about his childhood, he'd talk about when he was 18 years old, and this again has a social proof component to it, but he's 18 years old. He walks into the local cafe. There's a beautiful, young girl behind the counter. He looks at the tip jar, and if you go to a cafe, there's a little tip jar there. And with 90% predictability, it's like a mug. You can't see through it. It's like a mug. And then when she gets there in the morning, the strategy is that they fill it up, and then they put, coins and a couple of dollars and whatever in to make it, make it 20% full, right? So young Dan Kennedy walks into the cafe and he says, "Beautiful girl, if I could double your tips more like tenfold them, but if I could double your tips in 7 days, can I come back this Sunday and take you to a movie? And I'll give you one business tip to do it. And she says, something again. I wrote this long email. Oh, Mr. Business Guy, that's really funny. Sure, I'll take you up on the offer. What do I do? And he says, see this tip jar? You probably, as it fills up during the day, you probably empty it constantly to make it so that it's 20% full, as in giving the illusion that it's mostly empty. And then people will give you more tips. And that's probably the way you do it. You put it in a coffee mug because that's probably all you got. Okay. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to make this glass bigger. I want it to be glass so that we can see through it. I want you to fill it so that it's 90% full. And I want you to take some 10s and take some 5s, put them in the middle so everybody can see. Okay. That's all you're going to need to do. And you will literally double. And then throughout the day, instead of emptying it so that it's 20%, I want you to empty it so that it remains at 90% full and see what happens. So, and then basically Dan Kennedy, guess what? She doubles her tips. He comes back on Sunday, takes her to a dealio. If you wanted to see that email, I would imagine if you Googled my name and then tip jar or my name, tip jar, social proof, I don't know, probably come up. It's my favorite email I think that I've written. But anyway, so it's right there. And if you have an 18-year-old in the family, by the way, and you want to get him a date, send him into the local cafe with that exact game plan. Or if you have an 18-year-old that works at a cafe and they would like to double their tips, use that strategy and it will work with 100% certainty. And no doubt you could see what they're doing wrong. The magic of it is, and I'm guessing you already worked it out, by having it already, everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. So if your tip jar is 90% full, more people are going to put it in. And then of course you have the 10 and the 5, the larger bills, and maybe it's a 20, depending upon, the cafe and where it is, et cetera. So anyway, so I would do that. So that is an example of social proof. So really, and what I just did is I just gave you a story. Maybe it was a good one. Maybe it was a bad one. The bottom line is it was a story. So that when you do social proof, most people, they collect testimonials and they've got video testimonials, and you go to their website and it literally has a button that says testimonials and they're all there, which is fine. And you should do that. But if you really want to crush it, what you do is you've got to learn to use stories and then have social proof that kind of just falls, into the middle of the story. Like what you're doing is you're talking about how you were working with a client. Like what would that look like? Let's say you're working with a client. They hadn't raised their prices in 5 years. Why? They were poop scared that if they raised their prices, they were going to lose all their clients, right? Well, what you did is you went to you went to profit acceleration software. You went through, and as you guys, if you're listening to this and you're not using it, you should check it out. And if you're listening to this and you use it, you got to use this. You go to profit acceleration software. You go to the link that says increase prices, and you literally take their prices, plunk them in, the number of clients that they have, and then the amount that you want to raise their prices. So let's say 10%. And it literally does a calculation. Well, it will show the person that you're sitting with, or show you exactly how many clients they could lose and then stay at the exact same profitability. And it'll blow them away. Like the nuts, again, the way the math works, if I were to give you an example, if you do a 10% discount, you have to sell 33% more to break even. Okay. So it works in the opposite vein. You raise your prices by 10%, and what it does to your profitability will blow your mind. So basically you go through the software, and what we're talking about, coming back to the story, is I was working with a client. They hadn't raised their prices in 5 years. We raised them by a mere 10%. They thought there would be a max exodus. It was the exact opposite. We had some of our clients actually thanking them, thanking us for raising our prices, and this profitability went from X to X, right? So basically what you'd be doing is like using a story, or like I remember one time I was working with a client. Let's say they were selling high-end machinery, right? Like $50,000 to $100,000 machines. We looked at it and said, wow, so walk me through the dynamic. Like my job was to help him grow his business, make him more profitable. I asked him, so walk me through the dynamics of selling one of these $100,000 machines. He told us, and then he talked about the wear and tear and the guarantee. And I said, so what does the guarantee look like? He says, really don't have one. I said, so how many times how many times have you sold a $100,000 machine in the last number of years and had a challenge? And he says, you know what? These things are so amazing. They never break down. It just doesn't happen. The best engineering in the world, yada, yada, yada. And I said, well, why don't you, or actually, I think it came with this is a story from this is a real story, from from a number of years ago, but I think it had like an automatic 12-month guarantee or like warranty, right? So what I said is, well, why don't you sell a lifetime warranty? Charge, call it $10,000 for the lifetime warranty. Because if they're never breaking down, that'd be amazing. But what you do is I want you to bolt on regular visits with the lifetime guarantee. So what it's going to look like, you're going to spend $100,000. I'm going to upsell you to 110,000, but you're going to get a lifetime guarantee so that we're going to maintain if anything goes drastically wrong, we're going to come in, replace it, fix it, what have you. But with that, we have to be able to come in once a quarter, twice a year to check on the machine and service it, right? Well, what really happens is the guy that comes in is like a salesman in overalls, and he's really coming in to kick the tires, check the oil, do whatever he's got to do to check it out. But really what we're doing is it's an opportunity to come into the office, because if somebody spends $100,000 on a machine, I guarantee that they're capable, and probably it's necessary for them to buy another 25, a 50, and maybe another $100,000 machine. But what happens is now you've sold it, and they often forget about you and then buy from somebody else because you don't have that regular contact. So the maintenance program basically sold them a whole bundle of more machines in the future, right? I think I'm making a meal of that story. But the bottom line is that it works really well. And like you basically got this back end way of selling significantly more to those clients. But he also sold 10 of those machines in 1 year. Guess what? He took $100,000, put it straight into his bank account to basically get paid to sell more often to his clients. And the guy, I'm going to presume that you're sitting with somebody who sells machinery for a living. They hear that story. They go, oh my God, that's such a good example. You're really using social proof via a story on the back end. And speaking of testimonials, speaking of social proof, testimonials are kind of like the framework of it all. But here's something that I've seen people make this mistake time and time again when they're trying to use this stuff effectively. And that's that. Let's say that I'm a business coach and I do local live events as my form of lead generation, which is a great one. And I know we're in the middle of a pandemic, depending upon when you're listening to this, but that's going to go away. And there's very few places in the world where you can't get 5 or 10 people and just keep them apart and put masks on them or whatever. But you can do local live events, and this is a great way of getting clients. Well, when you do promotion, like let's say that you're going to do, like an email broadcast, you're going to drive traffic on Facebook, you're going to make some phone calls, and then you're going to email some marketing material to folks that are interested in coming. The testimonials on the marketing material need to talk about your event. Like, oh, I went to say we call it a sales and marketing boot camp. Okay, well, do all of the testimonials need to talk about how amazing the sales and marketing boot camp was, right? So now when I come to your event, I'm at the sales and marketing boot camp, I'm sitting in the chair, and let's assume I have a workbook. I go to the end of the workbook, and what's there, right? I used to always put testimonials there, right? Well, what should those testimonials talk about? What I used to do is called a sales and marketing audit. So that's, I'd take you to the sales and marketing boot camp, and then I would sell you into a sales and marketing audit, sales and marketing audit. Guess what all the testimonials, all of the social proof at the back of the workbook talked about? The sales and marketing audit. Okay. Now we do the marketing audit. I'm sitting with you and I've got all my, my materials, this, that, and the other. I'm bringing more testimonials, more social proof. Now that we're in that meeting, guess what the testimonials at that meeting talk about? A 12-month relationship with me, right? So the mistake that folks make is that they're generating leads for their live event, and then the testimonials talk about working with them for 12 months. And no doubt you could see where there's a disconnect. So I give you that example as a business coach. And imagine, so you should be doing exactly that. If you just, if you saw that, went, oh gosh, yeah, I'm doing that wrong. Obviously you need to course correct, but I can tell you if you're doing it wrong, your clients are making an absolute meal out of that. So that being said, Road Dog, that's social proof effectively. That's a great question. I think people do that very poorly. And it's something that people should be spending some time on and, collecting testimonials, collecting case studies. And really what I was trying to do there, or trying to bring across with the machinery, come up with stories where you can talk about working with clients, but that becomes inbuilt social proof and case studies as you're talking to your client, effectively selling them, but really talking about massive successes you've had in the past. That makes sense, Mike?
So let me ask, because you answered it, but I just think it's such an important point. Okay, like, and I really want everyone to get this. You talked
Yeah.
about the lifetime warranty and how that worked. Okay, can you just kind of repeat, because you talked about the maintenance program, like can
Yeah.
you just go over that one more time, because I just think it is
Yeah.
such a critical piece.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, high five. I agree. Like, so you sell something like repeat. Look, here's the tattoo for your forearm, the bumper sticker for your car, the post-it note on your computer. Repeat business equals profit. Okay. Think of the company that they sold. If you buy $100,000 machine, okay, or 50,000 or 25,000, whatever the number is, the probability that you're going to need other similar machines in the future is ridiculously great, right? So what we want to do is build a maintenance program into our business, into our coaching clients' business. So let me give you this as a business coach. Here's what I would do. Okay, I sign you up as a coaching client, and it's a 12-month agreement. Okay. Well, what we do is a quarterly review where we basically do like a longer meeting and a more strategic meeting 4 times a year, where what we're really doing is going through what worked per gasoline, what didn't work, and let's ask the question why. There's a good chance what we do is move that to the side. Again, a lot of folks spend a lot of time in their businesses trying to, make things work that don't work, and then not nearly enough time pouring gasoline on what is working, right? So we do a quarterly review, but really what happened in that quarterly review is it was an opportunity for us to sell you other quote unquote stuff, right? Like, let's say your website just isn't functioning and you're not getting it. So I've got, a partner that I work with who teaches social media. Well, I hire them. Let's assume I've got 20 clients. I hire the social media gal or guy to come in. I say, I want you to do a 3-hour talk to my clients on how to make, Facebook, Instagram, social media work. Okay. I'm going to pay you, $1,000 to come and do a 3-hour talk. Most people have never been paid 5 cents to do a speaking event, and you offer somebody 1,000, and maybe it needs to be 2,000 if they're really good, whatever the number is. You say, I'm going to pay you 1,000, 2,000 to show up and teach my clients social media. You've got 20 clients. You do a quarterly review with all of them. Let's assume that 10 take you up on the offer and 10 say no thanks. Well, you sell them a $2,000 social media program. Okay, so that's 20 grand in your bank account, and then you paid him 1 or 2. Let's assume you paid him 2 grand. That's $18,000 of profit. And the way that you did it is by doing your maintenance program, your quarterly review throughout the year. Okay, makes sense. You're building that into your program. And when I sell you into the coaching and say it's going to be $2,000 a month, 24 grand a year, my maintenance program, quote unquote, or my quarterly review makes my program sound like it's more valuable. Like this is a value. And by the way, it is. It's just that the entire meeting isn't around selling them. The meeting's around providing them, they have challenges and we need to fix those challenges via, and it's often education, right? So anyway, so there it is. With the maintenance program, I explained you sell a $100,000 machine. You show up every 3 months to maintain it, but think of it as a salesman coming in overalls, because there's nothing wrong with the machine, right? Like, it's all basic stuff. He has his checklist. You guys have probably heard me talk about checklists. Very, very powerful. He goes through that. He has to get the manager or the owner to sign the quarterly checkup, right? Now you just got right in front of your business owner. Bingo, bango, bongo. So, or let's do another one here. I've done this with like a construction company. Let's say they do a renovation on your house, or no, they come in and do a kitchen. Okay, so they charge you 25 grand to come in and do the kitchen. Well, what do? Repeat business equals profit. They do the kitchen and never contact you ever again, right? Well, somebody that spent 25 grand on their kitchen, I can tell you with ridiculous probability, there's other parts of their house that could use some upgrading and whatnot, right? So come back in 30 days, check on your work. You'll almost always get a referral, because what happens? You just renovated your kitchen. You spent 25 grand. I guarantee that you've invited more friends over because you want to show it off. They come in and guess what they say? Oh my gosh, that looks amazing. And by the way, 25 grand or 10 grand, 25 grand, 50 grand, whatever the number is. She's like, that sounds like an okay deal, right? Well, you'll get a referral a lot of the time, but what you'll also get they're now kind of, the kitchen's living, they've been going in and out of their bathroom, and they're like, you know what, we've got to get these bathrooms done as well, right? Well, you come in 30 days to check on your work. If nothing else, it's going to cement the relationship times 10. You're probably going to get a referral at worst. And in a lot of cases, what ends up happening, and when I say a lot, 25% of the time, 20% of the time, when you do your numbers at the end of the year, that adds up times 10, right? So you build a maintenance program where you come in to check on your work 30, 60, 90 days after it's done. You, again, builds you a swimming pool. You come in afterwards and check on the swimming pool. And now all of a sudden the kids want to, they want a diving board. They want a slide. They want some of the other goodies. Maybe they need some landscaping done in and around the pool. Well, you've got a buddy who does that. He comes in, he charges $20,000 to do the landscaping. You get a little bit of a kickback. So that's more of a cross sell. But again, now, so that's the maintenance program, Road Dog. You just, you build it, you do X, Y, Z, and then you come back, check on the work, which nobody does. It works with ridiculous probability. It works favorably times 10. You, if nothing else for the referrals, it always works, but nobody does it. They leave and then they never contact the guy again. And then when it comes time to do the, renovate the bathrooms and whatnot, they end up hiring somebody different. Like, it happens all the time. It's another example of that is the realtor. When somebody buys a house, it's the largest purchase of their lifetime. You interview people five years after they bought their house and they can't even remember their realtor's name. And again, as I say that, you might be thinking, come on, really? Do it. I'm telling you, they literally can't remember their realtor's name, the largest purchase of their lifetime, right? So guess what? 5 years, they want to upgrade their house. They can't even remember their realtor's name. They end up going with somebody different. Happens all the time. So yeah, Road Dog, that's maintenance program, and that's a powerful strategy. And actually, if I just, also the way you can think about this, like, okay, something soft with something hard. Okay, so when you go buy a computer, they sell you 12-month warranty. That's, computer is hard, and then that is soft. The other way, I've got a buddy who does like personal training, right? And I'm like, okay, personal training, soft. Now, when you do personal training, what's the reason? They're trying to lose weight. They're trying to become more healthy. Are you selling supplements? The answer is always no, and that's crazy, right? They could also sell some, some clothes, some merchandise and whatnot, but just think supplements. And how long do people take supplements for? Often for the rest of their life, right? So again, they're all of a sudden, you get yourself a lifetime client. But the way that I came to that is something soft with something hard, $100,000 machine. And then I built something soft into it, which was a warranty, right? So something soft with something hard is a powerful concept. So there you go, Road Dog. I hope that explains the maintenance and the social
follow the journey, right, dude? Like, we built out a funnel for a local MMA gym, and it was, whatever their offer was for, I think it was 3 months or first 30 days, whatever that was. But it's like, well, what do you need? Well, you're going to need the boxing gloves. You're going to need the proper attire. You're going to need, like, why not? There's all the soft things that you can cross, upsell, whatever you want before they even walk in the door, right? And increase the profitability per client. I just think that that is lost so much. Just a follow up. How's your slide? Like, is that happening still from the second level of the house, or is that what's going on there? Like,
we're gonna get hockey. We spoke to Hockey Hair. It is not happening. Hockey Hair was gonna come over here and give me a quote, but hopefully gonna happen, man. Hopefully it's gonna be the greatest toolless house slide of all time. But we'll see next year what happens. But we're gonna get Hockey Hair back over here to give us a quote.
It's all about becoming unforgettable, and you and I will never forget the name of our realtor. When you're that handsome, it's not gonna happen. But it's just
that is it. Like Darcy Nairo.
Yes.
Legend boy.
For those people looking for real estate in their greater Kelowna area, I've got some. I can't promote him exclusively. I've got a good friend from high school that actually gave me heck for not using her when we moved here. So, yikes. Anyways, so here's a good one. Somebody wrote in and said, "Hey, can you help me with how to create a quote big idea for my client?" I love this. Okay. It's all about big ideas. So.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's a popular concept. I believe that's Dan Kennedy 101 coming up with a big idea. So, okay, hey guy, maybe an example that we use. I can find any business owner $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. If you're a business coach, you could try come up with, something, you could come up with ideas for the next 10 years. And if you came up with something better than that, I'd like to see it. But the bottom line is it's a big idea. So kind of the framework that you use for it is like, number one, the first time you heard it, like, did it make you gasp? Right. Number two, it's got to be unique, right? It can't be better. It can't, if it falls into the line of better or anything remotely close to better, you don't have yourself a quote unquote big idea. So is it unique? Could it be used for 30 years? I think again about finding somebody $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. How could that ever become out of vogue? Right? It's not going to. Does it fit? Like there needs to be a strategic component to it. Like, does it fit the strategy of the business? And I would dare say to perfection, right? So think about that. Like if you're a business coach and your goal, yes, you're there to motivate people and there's a mindset and a Tony Robbins kind of element to, coaching. It's obvious, but let me tell you, after, when you have a coaching client, if you aren't making them more money, they are canceling, right? It's just the end. And sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And of course there's the separation and the mental challenges and getting them out of their own way and helping them with thinking bigger, et cetera. Some self-sabotage things from the past where you got to uncover, like, where did this come from? But at the end of the day, you want to help people make more money as a successful business coach. If you want to help people for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ongoing, you make them more money, right? Like Tony Robbins talks about Paul Tudor Jones. He's charged him $1 million a year for, like, I don't even know how long, but well over a decade now. Look, if Paul Tudor Jones was not making more money as a result, plus he gets a percentage of the upside side, that's Tony Robbins, right? Plus, the $1 million retainer, that relationship would have ended a very, very long time ago. Clearly it's the opposite. So does it fit the strategy, the overall strategy of the business? And then, like, I would say, like, when you hear it, do you think to yourself, and I hear this all the time with ours, I wish I thought of it myself, right? Because it kind of drive you into that. So in a nutshell, does it make you gasp? It's got to be unique. Can it be used long-term? Like, let's use 30 years as an example. Does it fit the strategy of the business? And then what did I say? Did you wish you thought of it yourself? Right. So some examples of that, like some famous examples. FedEx, when it absolutely positively has to be there the next day, like that's a big idea on steroids. And just these things are so marketable, right? Like you put these things on Facebook, like again, every time the comments that I get, the private messages I get, if I go to my Facebook page right now and I just put something about the $100,000 in 45 minutes without spending a dollar on marketing or advertising, like the private messages I get just blow you away, right? So, and when we train somebody, we always hear, geez, I wish I would have thought of that myself, right? Because again, it's not the most complex process in the world. I mean, we built software around it to facilitate it, but thinking about that, so the famous examples would be the old FedEx, and then there's Domino's, what was it? Fresh piping hot pizza in 30 minutes or less, where it's free. They had to go away from that because they had a car accident, but at the end of the day, that created Domino's Pizza. Make no mistake about it. Like, you have a realtor that says, look, if you don't sell your house, I'll buy it. Like the first person that came up with that, that's just game changing. But when you hear that and you go, but how is that possible? What they do is they sign the paperwork. Well, let's say your house is worth X. Let's just say $750,000, whatever. It's worth $750,000. Well, if we're going to buy it, like if we don't sell it in 90 days, we'll buy it. But the paperwork says that we're going to buy it for $600,000, or, like you're buying it for a steal of a deal. Right. So again, do you understand? So really what I'm talking about here is creating rules. I've talked about that in the past. Every sport, every competition has got rules, but then we operate our businesses and we don't create any rules, right? It's insanity if you really think about it. Like, okay, if I don't sell your house in 90 days or less, I'll buy it. Couldn't you, if you were a business broker, could you say, if I don't sell your business, I'll buy it? And again, you've got to create some rules and very steadfast ones here. So you could promote that. And then there's an application process and there's a process to go through. So if you know a business broker, they could absolutely do that, but they're just going to have to be able to create some rules around the businesses that they would then buy, which would only be a few of them, but it would get you in the door. And I guarantee that it would set the business broker up to have, more businesses to sell than ever. And by putting that out there, you automatically, it kind of comes to your subconscious mind. Like when you put that kind of message out there, you can imagine it lifts your game big time. So suddenly you start taking on more clients and then selling more businesses just as a byproduct of basically being so grandiose with your marketing and kind of having that, again, what quote unquote, a big idea. I remember back in the day, I did a presentation where I guaranteed to solve any marketing problem on the spot. And then if you're on my email list and you're listening to this, you probably are. And I just did a 1 month, 4 week set of presentations where I guaranteed to solve any business coaching problem on the spot. And I had some heavyweight marketers show up, by the way, and I would be lying to say that I wasn't a little bit nervous before the first couple, going, woo, wonder what's going to happen, because we just opened people up and, it was just there. So anyways, that's like those would be examples of big ideas. So yeah, I think that's a process that I'd follow. I'm sure you could throw some other steps in there. David Ogilvy, I think actually, now that I think of it, is the guy that made that famous. Not Dan Kennedy, but I think Dan Kennedy then kind of grabbed it and ran with it. Could be wrong on all that. But anyway, so yeah, coming up with a big idea for yourself. Again, if you work with us, if you're not working with us, you should be, but we'll train you, and I built, profit acceleration software around this entire process. So we'll find anybody $100,000 in 45 minutes. But also with the software, when you log in, and what we provide for our coaches is kind of marketing message material. When you log into the software, what it says right there is our software has got 497 million weighted algorithmic sequences that basically populate a roadmap to provide for a business owner. So imagine if I followed up, I'm going to find you $100,000 in 45 minutes with, what we'll do is we'll take your business and we'll run it through my software. My software's got 497 weighted algorithmic sequences that'll rip your business through, and then it will ultimately populate a roadmap that you can then use with your clients. Like, that could be tightened up a little bit, but who's not going to want to get that roadmap? Which business owner, provided you've got preeminence and the right positioning, who's not going to want to see that roadmap, right? Like, that's a big idea. Like, again, make you gasp. It's like, you're going to what? Like, sign me up. So anyway, so that's part of the software, the marketing message on the back end. But Road Dog, that is the formula for creating a big idea. And I agree, that's a good question. And that's the way you want to be thinking. You don't want to just go in there and do time management. You don't want to just go in there and, help these business owners get out of their own way and, do 80-20 and write down their goals. You really want to be thinking big. This is how, you can really crush it. You want to hit 250, 500 grand with your coaching company. It's absolutely possible. Like, business coaches, I get asked this all the time. Can I really make good money doing this? Is this a business? The answer is absolutely. Like, what other business in the world you got 80% margins? Like, if you get 20 clients at $2,000 a month, that's $480,000 a year, right? Like, and again, with 70, 80% margins, show me another business where you can do that, and you're going to struggle mightily. So anyways, there you go, Road Dog. That's my answer, bud.
Hey, not short on long-winded answers today. That's cool. Hey, I just want to, so yeah, that guarantee by realtors. I just picked up a client in Orange County this weekend, and they do a 15-day guarantee. If you can believe that. Like, isn't that nuts? Like, so you know what? It's funny, actually. Let me ask you this, because you say 10K. I've even heard out of your precious little lips, my friend, 100K in 45 minutes. When does that get too grandiose? Like, when do people start going, I'm smelling a little bit of bullshit on this? Like, when is that?
Great question. Because, okay, this is where you got to have spidey senses. Look, if you're talking to a business owner, it's a mobile dog groomer. They started 3 months ago, and she's, she or he has done $9,000 of, mobile dog grooming. If you say 100 grand in 45 minutes, there can be a break in rapport. So this is where, I always talk about the little red arrow, you are here, and you can't always establish that super quickly, but you do want to get your spidey senses and kind of sharpen that, because you're right. If you say too big of a number, but that being said, you could say it in such a way that, look, I can find any business owner 100 grand in 45 minutes without them spending $1 on marketing or advertising, including startups. But that being said, you've only just got started. So let's sit down, go through the process, and let's see what the weighted algorithms and the software populate for you and where you're currently at. See the way I said it? I had preeminence, and then I watered it down a little bit at the end. Like, you totally do that. But you are right, Road Dog. If you start shooting out too big of numbers to someone who doesn't have those kind of numbers, it can be a little bit of a break in rapport, and I could never afford this person. Which, by the way, isn't necessarily a bad thing, because now your job is just to get in front of them, and basically they're going to hire you because what you did is created really good positioning, which is critical.
And that's what it is, right? It's a hook. Like the 15-day thing down in the OC, which, fair enough, California is a ridiculous real estate market. But as he says, over 90% will just list regularly with him anyways, even though they throw out that guarantee, right? It's a different contract. Yeah. So it's a hook to get people's attention within a realistic, within a reason. It's not like, hey, Carl, I'm going to make you a kajillionaire in 15 minutes a day. Like, come on, man. Right? That's every MLM's great promise right there. But anyways, next question. Geez, the time. Where does it go, man? Like, seriously, where does the time go on these podcasts? Listening to you. That's where it goes. Okay. My existing. Oh yeah. Okay. We talked about this. So this is a legit one. This is that actually happened to you. When was this? Like, just recently, right?
This is a text message. That's it. Straight. Best man at my wedding, by the way. Yep.
Okay.
Hit it.
You know what? It's funny because the next time you get married, I fully plan on being in that wedding party. My existing client offered me 3 days per week for $6K per month, 12-month contract. Okay. So somebody offered him $6K a month for 3 days of work per week on a 12-month contract. I'm debating and wondering if you have any thoughts on whether to accept or not. You might want to sort of pre-frame with a bit of a backstory on this, but what would you recommend in a situation like this?
Yep. So just look, this is a coach who's doing well. So again, because some people are listening to that. But Road Dog and I were talking, it's like, damn, a lot of coaches are just going to jump at 6 months, but right? We're just like, well, no, this is the way the question was asked. This is the way we got to ask it, right? So just keep that in mind. But really, okay, you give 3 days away to somebody, you've got concentration risk, right? In other words, if he takes on this agreement and then this company goes sideways or lets him go, suddenly his income's taking a huge bath because 3 days, he's only got 2 other days to go, right? So the real question of what I said is, look, what could be learned by taking on this agreement? If you can't learn something, then, and again, depending upon your situation, but you're not desperate for the job or desperate for the contract, it's just a flat out no, because it's not anywhere near enough money to excite anybody. But at the same time, that's all relative, right? Got to take that in context. So number one is, what could you learn? Again, because this is a personal, like a buddy, it answered a little bit different than I want, for the average coach, especially one just trying to get going. But here is the magic. And this is what I put in front of them. And I want everybody to take away from this is like, okay, so on most negotiations, it appears to be a yes or a no, right? Which obviously would be option 1 or option 2. The magic is always in option 3, and no one ever seems to frame that, right? So what I said is just, can you do they're asking for 3 days. Can you do it in 1? Right? Because again, the reason you're asking you is because you're experienced. There's been a long-term client, XYZ. Could you do it in 1 day? Now, $6,000 a month for 1 day. Look, this excites them, right? $6,000 a month for 3 days is not, right? So option number 3 is there a way to negotiate? And is there a way and the other thing is, do you have to be there live, or are you going to be there virtually? And again, in other words, you could get the work done. Some people can get 3 days of work done, in 1.5 days. And again, that's going to adjust the roadmap. So the bottom line is most people have option number 1, yes, option number 2, no, and then they never go to option number 3. And option number 3 is normally where you should start, right? And just think negotiation, right? Like, you know, a staff member comes to you and they want to make I need to make $150,000 a year, right? Let's assume they're on less than that, you know. Instead of saying yes or no, it's, well, look, why don't we do a 3-year agreement? We'll put you at 125 grand a year, year 1, 137.5 year 2, and then 150 grand in year 3. So I can agree to your demand and need at 150 grand, but you got to give me a little bit of time to get there. So no doubt you can see how, you know, well, look, that's option number 3 all day long, right? I even talked about negotiation on an email last week, and I basically, the way I framed it is that when somebody comes into negotiation and they start talking about win-win, and let's just say a little bit early, right? It's really a suggested message to get you to the table and get you to, start conceding or, giving away power before you even get there, right? Like, this is why all pro athletes have agents, okay? Because they would get absolutely crushed. So I hope you're understanding that. That's not to say that you don't end up sometimes with win-win agreements. Clearly that happens. But when they start using it as part of their messaging too early on, you're about to get turned upside down. And I have, again, age of 34, I did a $750,000 deal. I've done many $500,000 deals. In no way, shape, or form am I pumping my chest there. I have sat at negotiating tables with some folks that, knew how to negotiate. And I've also sat with folks that don't have a stinking clue. And it's very important with that power, I believe, to, make sure that you don't take advantage of them. You know what I mean? And I don't think that happens very often, right? So anyways, that's why pro athletes have agents. When you do these deals, I got better at it. You guys will get better at it. Your clients will get better at it. But if you say, okay, well, I want to get better at it, give me the secret sauce, I just gave it to you, option number 3, right? Always go in there thinking option number 3, option number 3, option number 3. And the word negotiation needs to be like front and center. So yeah, that's, and you think they're thinking like I just mentioned pro athletes, right? Like what they'll often do is like agents or the team will go and put together a contract and like they'll make it heavy, we'll call it front end loaded, right? So what ends up happening, and this is why they need agents, they'll do like a front end loaded contract, and then let's say it's a 5-year deal, and then in year 3, because it's front end loaded, the guy becomes a steal of a deal, right? Well, basically in year 3, and this is why they have agents and why sometimes you see negotiations go really deep when you think that it should have been straightforward. In year 3, the guy is like big time value. Well, he ends up getting suitcased around the league because he's not a superstar that's untouchable, but he's good enough that on the number that he's at, he's very attractive, right? Well, this is what ends up happening when you see these really good players get suitcased around, baseball, basketball, hockey, etc. That's part of what can go wrong. So even I got a guy played in the NHL, lives on my street, and he was saying, like, if the NHL didn't go back, so if the NHL last season didn't go back and decide a Stanley Cup winner, and more to the point, follow through on the agreements, with the league, like with the TV agreement, because of escrow and collective bargaining, for every $1 million a client was signed up for, a player was signed up for, he would have taken home $100,000. Okay, so you got a $3 million a year agreement, you would have taken home $300,000. You're a $1 million a year player, you're taking home $100,000. You're $5 million a year player, you would have taken home $500,000. That's part of why everybody was thinking, too, did the NBA really need to follow through? Did the NHL really need to follow through? Did they need to finish the season, and couldn't they have, done X, Y, Z? That's part of why they did it. And it has to do with the agreements and the way that they're in place. So the owners, I guess what I'm trying to go with there is that the owners were never going to lose. The players end up losing in the end. So anyway, that's the example of that one. I started, though, really important. When you take on a client that takes up 3 days of your week. Number one, is there something here to learn? And then number two, understand that in the accounting world, they refer to this as concentration risk. You've got one client monopolizing a lot of your time. This is not a good thing, because if they, for whatever reason, that contract ends, your income is going to take a massive, massive hit, which you probably don't want. So there you go, Road Dog. That's how I answered that one, and that's how I'd answer it for the folks listening. So there you go.
That's beauty. You are a registered beautician, my friend. That is what you are, whether you know it or not. Hey, listen, bud, can you close us out with giving our listeners your one thing that they can do from today's podcast?
One thing. I think the big idea, I think understanding the big idea and just, knowing what it is, and then understanding that. So when I go and I'm going to do a presentation, what am I thinking of? Like what am I going to hook? And by the way, hook it's a big idea and a hook are different, but definitely of the same family. When I go and I'm going to do what did we do? We just did a 2-day event this week. It was only our clients speak, and then only our clients can attend. So basically the quote unquote hook, or loosely the big idea, was we asked our they had to be a 7-figure operator in order to get asked to come and speak. If you had to start again, what would you do to ensure you got the 6 figures or $100,000 within 90 days? So if you had a coach, one of our she's a 10-year, one of our speakers, 10-year client has a $3 million coaching business, and she answers that question for you, wouldn't you like to hear what she'd say? And the answer is obviously, or maybe you'd like to hear what I have to say. And again, I did my 1-hour presentation. I just laid it out there, ABC, 1, 2, 3, paint by numbers. Like, this is what I would do. So that was the hook, right? Like, not long ago, if you're on my database, you heard me, like you saw me do a promotion where I guaranteed to solve any business coaching problem on the spot. And then you hear it, you're like, holy, like I assume you read that and you go like, wow, right? Like, gas might be a little bit of an exaggeration, but it's like, holy smokes, okay. And by the way, there's an element of social proof built in that. If I'm willing to let 100 people, 200 people, but there was far more, over 500 people registered, by the way, 150 people say they're live, whatever the number is. And then I'm willing to open up any line and just let them ask a question and, feel confident that I can literally just answer it on the spot without knowing what the heck is coming. That's got power. There's an element of social proof into it. So when I decide that I'm going to do a promotion or I'm going to do a webinar, I'm not thinking of, content, this, that, and the other. I'm thinking big idea. I'm thinking hook. You guys would be well served to adjust your spidey senses to do the same thing. Thinking, big, and thinking what's going to make people gasp when you put it. So if you're going to do a local seminar, right? Again, in fact, I sent this in an email, but the Baltimore business seminar is just not going to get it done, right? Like we're well past that. By the way, surprisingly, it will. You'll get a few people there, but if you want to have people climbing from the Raptors and have it totally sold out and create some vibe and a bunch of referrals and get people coming and then inviting 3 of their buds who are also business owners, come up with a big idea, come up with a big hook, send your spidey senses thinking in and around that way. So that's my answer, buddy. There you go, man. Big idea.
So speaking of vibe, how was it for you not having a Congo line like you normally do at all of your events? Like, how was that for you for creating vibe?
It's very disappointing, Road Dog. I just did it by myself in my office here, farting around. Well, that's what I did.
By the way,
I did my own Congo line.
The best way that I've ever heard anyone start any presentation is Karl when he gets in front of the room and he says, "I know what you're all thinking. I thought he was taller." It's like
I say that. That's the truth.
It is a great line, and it's 100% fact. So, anyways, on that note, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Another great episode of Business Coaching Secrets with the man on top of the hill and apparently vertically challenged, my boy King Karl. If you're not on the inside, again, I always ask Karl to end off with the one thing from today's podcast. Well, he typically has a one thing every day inside of his email. So if you're not getting those emails or you're not part of the pre-show that we have exclusively for our coaches before this podcast, be sure to check out focused.com and subscribe today. And again, if you enjoyed this podcast, please share with a fellow coach or someone that you think might make a great coach, someone that's a great salesperson or just a highly motivated type. Of course, we'd appreciate that if you'd rate this episode, as we know that iTunes and Spotify give an insane amount of weight towards reviews. So please leave us a review if you like what you heard. And I can't believe it, but that's it for another week. Remember, folks, progress equals happiness. Take care, everybody.
Karl Bryan built Profit Acceleration Software 2.0 to train business coaches how to find any small business owner more than $100,000 in 45 minutes without them spending an extra dollar on marketing or advertising. This becomes a business coach's superpower. So as a business coach, you'll never again have to worry about working with business owners that can't afford your high-end coaching fees. Check us out at focused.com.